Today, we're at a restored World War I trench in the Champagne region of France. Le Mans de Massiges is a real trench that has been excavated and restored using the original techniques, and it's a fascinating place to explore what life in the trenches was like.
From what I was reading, they would say that the benefit of trenches was that you could stand up to load your rifle and still be relatively protected from rifle fire and bombardment.
Look through here and fire your gun. It's pretty dry here today. We've been here before when it's been kind of muddy, but nowhere near as muddy as it got during the war. This is a great picture of, look at the water. Ugh. Just having dinner. I'm not really familiar with his clothing that he's wearing. Like these boots and that vest.
Doesn't look like it's standard issue.
So in 2008, they started excavating and restoring this trench, and it's all these rusted items that you see everywhere are things that they really excavated from the trench. During the first winter in 1914, the daily losses of the men here amounted to around 50 men per regiment in line.
From what I was reading, the average life expectancy of a soldier in one of these trenches was like 14 days.
They've been making walls like this ever since at least the Neolithic period. Well, probably the Mesolithic period. So part of the reason why losses were so high was because the Germans were very skilled in the use of hand grenades, and the French were not. They weren't familiar with them at all.
And the way these trenches were tended to be built in general was they had like three main lines of trench, and there was one up at the front, and then there was one in the middle, and then there was one in the back. And the one in the back was like for people who were coming in new or being rotated out. And they just had little interconnecting places that you can kind of get between the larger trench areas. And these were places, I believe, for people to just kind of go and hide during bombardment and that kind of stuff, to just protect themselves as much as they could.
And as they've been excavating the trench, they've found quite a few bodies. There's a little bunkhouse. With convenient stairs.
This was probably for the officers.
Yeah. Is it a drawer? Yeah. Or is it it's like the bottom of the stove piece.
Yeah.
It says the French artillery fires between 500 and 800 shells per day in this sector.
I know it's not here, but nearby in Verdun, just the sheer brutality of it. They think they launched between the two sides 50 million shells in 10 months. Like, that's like 2 per second. Like, there were times where there was no silence. Like, it's no wonder people came back from this changed.
Well, that's where the word shell shock comes from. No, this place was literally hell. It was hell on earth for 4 years. I like this quote I read from a veteran of the war that he said, there in Champagne, on 12 kilometers of poor land, 2 million men spent a year killing each other.
Sorry.
I think that's about the best summary of World War I that you could ever say.
you imagine, like, you're here and you're like, there's people running at you with guns, and you're just trying to stop them with your gun, and then you have to like lean against here and reload, and then like that's your job for
Just to take a couple feet of
yeah,
mud, because that's all they were doing was
yeah.
just
It was
going back and forth over.
it
Like,
was a war of inches.
there was a general who came up to the front, and he was just like, we were fighting over this. In February 1915, the Germans were able to take this trench, but the French were able to take it back in October. This trench complex is very maze-like, and it's really easy to get lost in here. Like, if you're with somebody, you get separated, it's pretty hard to find each other. Well, the French and the English built their trenches to be temporary because they didn't expect to be here forever, but the Germans built their trenches to be more permanent, like you saw at Camp Marguerre. Had concrete buildings and a movie theater.
Well, they were planning on moving in.
Yeah, they thought that they were going to win and they were just going to stay.
And then we would put things like this out there for people to crawl over.
It looks like Roman glass, the way that it's iridescent like that.
There's a stove with a exhaust to go out. It's kind of innovative.
So like, so we're in this big like corrugated arch dome. Like what's holding it up?
Just the metal arch.
But well, see, look how it's like a bolted together.
And that's just to hold it together so that it's pushing into each other, right? Yeah, I mean this shape, right? This corrugated shape is very strong, especially when you bend it.
Okay.
Right, it's kind of like, if you have a piece of paper, it's like this. But if you hold a piece of paper, like curl a piece of paper, you can like hold something with it. Like if you have a flat piece of paper and you're just holding your hand, right? It just flops.
Yeah.
But if you from the edge curl it a little bit, it'll hold weight, right? So that's the same concept with this type of metal.
Huh. I see daylight through here. It did not look this bucolic outside during the war. Like there were no trees, no birds, no grass. Just looked like the surface of the moon.
Pretty much.
Was this all one piece that has cracked, or do you think this is like multiple pieces?
I don't know. I think it was blocks. Because if you look up here, right, these were brought in as prefab, like, blocks. Yeah. So these look like they're too regular here. Like I feel like it's blocks, but I'm not certain because it looks the same here.
This place is so well done. It's really impressive. And it's free. What's this? Just like steaks.
There's a shell right here.
And another one up there. And there's a piece of a gun on the left that's like making the edge of this.
Like the shells are a lot bigger than in my head picture.
Yeah. So in that book that I was talking about at Margare, written by the priest at a Rheims Cathedral when it was bombed during the war. I found this was an interesting statistic. Um, that out of 182 shells that fell on the town, 56 didn't explode. So what percentage is that? 56 divided by 182. 30%?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's how many of these things were duds. But just because they didn't explode didn't mean that they wouldn't explode if you disturbed it. And so that's a problem even to this day. They find live find live shells. They would find gas canisters. Like farmers would dig them up and they would die or be injured from gas decades after the war.
Oh,
So the war's still here.
what is this over here?
That's like observance for the German artillery, 1915. Careful.
Wow, there's a ladder.
Mm.
I don't know.
No thanks.
How far down does that go?
Yeah, that's what I saw last time. Again, we're descending into hell.
Have a little lookout.
Do you look at all these I-beams?
Oh yeah.
And then all these bigger ones.
I guess they were really trying to protect this location from bombardment.
Well, and look how it's all concrete
Yeah.
here, and there isn't much concrete generally in this trench.
That's true. You don't see much of it at all.
And then on top, look at the top. See, there's more concrete up top and sandbags.
So this must have been a forward position.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
getting hit a
yeah.
lot.
And see, here's where they found somebody. He was only 21.
Hmm.
He was from Cherbourg. So sad. It's just awful. 50% of all the Frenchmen between ages 20 and 30 were killed in the war. Like you can't like there's nothing like that.
And I don't think people understand how just concentrated World War I was.
It was fought over a very small area.
Like more people died in World War II.
Yeah.
But it was just it's
because it was much more spread out across the world. But way more French people were killed in World War I than World War II. And every little town in France, every single one has a memorial to their World War I dead.
There's a little place for people to hang out.
In the last quarter of 1914, it's estimated that 11 to 12,000 men were killed here. But during the battle in February of 1915, the two colonial regiments engaged here lost half of their men. It was about 41 officers and over 2,100 men just in 2 days. And for the entire Champagne front, for the months of December, January, February, and March, it's estimated that 25,000 men were killed.
Yeah, this was all hand dug just by people.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. Yeah, it was just done with shovels and pickaxes. Oh, here's the, like, look at that. Like, is that a giant shell?
I don't know.
It almost looks like that exploded turret at Fort de Vaux.
Yeah. I don't think that's a shell, but it definitely took a lot of damage from something very powerful.
Oh, and wait, come back. They've got these like wires, you know, because they had electricity, they had telephones. And so like this war was that recent that they had telephones at the front lines. And they had to deal with rats and the cold and the heat and the rain and the mud and the noise.
There's an ammo box.
I don't
Or
think that's old.
no.
Stove.
And I guess this was just another place to hunker down.
Yeah. Here's another lookout post.
Yeah, they have these little turret things for, look how thick. You can see it. It's like that thick. Like it's probably 4 or 5 inches thick, this metal.
I think they would even have like road signs and name over the roads in the trench to help you find your way around.
It makes sense that they would do that. And they were little cities in a weird way.
They tried to rotate men off the front lines every couple of weeks because I mean you just couldn't handle it. Oh, see, here's another guy kind of wearing that. Well, they look like they're like animal skin coats.
Oh yeah.
Look at how this is held up.
Oh yeah.
Wood, and then they put rebar like in the
Yeah.
wood to hold it together. Good idea.
Well, I mean, they were pretty smart. They had to go with what they had. They did a lot with what was given to them or what they found.
Found another body and another one over here. Let's see here. Was laying here for almost 100 years before found, and we don't even know his name.
Aaron, can you imagine what it was like being in there while these craters were being made, like over and over and over again?
Gun. World War I is when the trench coat was invented by Burberry. There's your fashion fact.
So, did the officers have them issued to them? Was that the deal?
Um, the British ones, the the French and the Germans wore like wool. Still a cotton lid. That just seems so sad.
Yeah. Bunker.
So they're kind of like railroad ties.
Yeah. I don't think they're kind of like railroad ties. I think they are railroad ties.
So, this probably seems like a stupid question, but were the sandbags just full of sand or were they filled like cement?
I think just sand. Because I mean, if
But will a sandbag like eventually sort of
it
turn to
could,
cement?
depending on what else is in there. Because I mean, if you fire a bullet into like a bag of sand, it doesn't go through it. They're just the
Yeah,
way
but
this.
these almost seem like it would bounce off.
Yeah.
They're so hard. Like they feel like concrete. Ooh, this one has a mattress. Ugh.
Lay down and take a nap.
This chair has a seat.
I assume it would have been like a horsehair mattress or something like that, or straw.
Well, this one's straw. this stove is.
Yeah.
See, everything used to have style to it
Even at war.
in the past. It's something we really lost. Here's where here's where an unidentified man was found. And here's another one from the same month. In Flanders Field, the poppies grow.
And you can see, and I think these are a little bit wider than what they were in reality. They kind of built it just for two people to kind of stand.
Which part? You mean just the width of the trench?
Yeah.
Well, it's like the walls. It's like they didn't make the walls in the recreation quite as steep. They gave them a little more of an angle. All these sleds.
So imagine you're 21 years old and you get told, take your gun and run across this. There's going to be people shooting at you. And there's a crater. And there's a crater. And there's a crater. And there's barbed wire. And it's just, I just can't imagine.
Look at these bomb craters. And this kind of damage you see all over the place in this region, particularly around Verdun and around the ossuary at Douaumont. Here's a giant shell. That's huge. Like, I wonder how much this thing weighs.
I don't know. 1,000 pounds? I have no idea.
Oh, here's this gun. So this is a German cannon. 77 millimeter gun. It weighs 1,000 kilograms.
Eight shots per minute.
That's a lot.
So this could fire 8,400 meters.
So 8 kilometers.
Yeah. That's just shy of 5 miles for those of you that don't know kilometers.
And then here's the closest village. And then here's the other side of that first lookout that we went in. I guess it is a pretty good vantage point up on this hill. And then over here off to the side, this is a portion of the trench that hasn't been restored yet.
Shows you how much work they've done to create this for people to kind of understand what it was like.
No, this was a lot of work. It's really impressive. And here's where they found another soldier, unknown, just in 2017. So you have to wonder how many more people are still buried out here, you know?
Yeah, probably quite a few. Well, then there's this thing, and it looks like some sort of fan that you would turn this crank, and you used it to get whatever air out or pump air in. That's what that is.
What did you say the translate said?
It was talking about a German mine. Like, so that, like, the Germans dug a mine? Is that what they did?
Don't you remember reading that thing in the on the green
I don't
pages
remember all the details.
about they were digging a big ammunition? I mean, it was explosives, and there was a huge explosion.
And I think
And this is probably where it was, because this looks like bigger than the crater at Petersburg.
I think it is.
And the crater at Petersburg was something that happened in the American Civil War in Virginia.
This is the mine that they were building that was referred to at that hand crank thing that I filmed earlier. So that was getting the air out of here so that these people could breathe while they were doing this work. It's pretty smart.
And then there's a picture of, like, who was on the ball with the camera to capture this? From the parking lot, if you head off to the right of the trench, there's this little area down here where they have a recreated infirmary. And here are some graves of soldiers that they found here as they excavated. Back to the hospital. Stretchers, ammo boxes, stove. Stove with a chimney.
Imagine extremely sanitary conditions while they were working.
Yeah, no risk of gangrene at all.
Is that actual narrow gauge track? Like, that's what it looked like?
Yeah.
Or that's real?
Well, I don't know if this is, I mean, it looks pretty old. So I guess this is some that they excavated. Mine cart. Kitchen.
I guess that was a wood stove back there. Or coal, maybe.
They had horses. What is this?
That it looks like the kind of thing like they stored like milk in.
So these are the metal poles that they would hang the barbed wire on.
It's a good turret.
It's a turret from a tank. And this is a big pile of the. And this is a big pile of things that they've excavated. Look at this like turntable.
Yeah. Like a switch track.
What is that? It's almost like razor wire.
It does look like razor wire.
I've just never seen anything like that. I wonder if this was like for storing ammunition. That's why it has cage in it.
Maybe.
What do you think?
And that would make sense for what? Why else would you have something that's lockable?
Oh, look at all these pickaxes. And like bolt cutters, pliers. What is that?
I don't know. No, it's the
Is it part of a gun?
It's a piece of a rifle. Yeah.
Water tank. Clean water was hard to come by. And then I guess they would store the water in these jugs.
Well, I imagine like most wars, many of the deaths were from
Disease. Yeah. Some canteens. I mean, imagine having to, crawl over this while you're being shot at.
or just being told to run toward it and get past it.
After they allegedly would spend time bombarding it. What was that? What was that thing you read of the?
I was reading an account from a letter from a soldier who was in World War One, and he would say, they told us that they bombarded to try to, get rid of the barbed wire so that we would have an open path to get to the enemy, and we would get there and the barbed wire would look like it was brand new.
They put together this memorial, all of these shells.